the Forex trade of the day and market watch list is going to be super interesting today. But before we dive in, I want to mention on Sunday, this coming Sunday, we're going to have a free webinar about supply and demand. So if you guys want to know how to identify solid supply and demand levels and how to apply that to the market in real time, that's going to be the topic of our webinar on Sunday. I'm going to put a link to that webinar in the description of this video, so go ahead, check it out and subscribe. Yeah, let's go ahead, dive in. Forex trade of the day, for me today, it's the silver. And I know what you're thinking, silver is a commodity, but it's behaving as a Forex currency. And both the silver and the gold have more characteristics similar to the foreign exchange market than, the commodity market or the precious metal market. So I do consider these two as part of the Forex family, the Forex currency group. And the silver presents a very, very compelling technical situation for a potential downside reversal. That's what we're talking about. We already pulled the trigger, by the way. Probably jumped the gun a little bit with this one because the actual trigger to jump into position is 31.57. This black line that's, by the way, been touched by price action today and immediately backed off. I do believe it will finish, it will cross over and break through. But let's talk about the technical situation here, right? So looking at this from the big picture, we'll start with the big picture, monthly chart. This is where we're coming from. There's a trading range that we've been able to capture ever since May. So ever since May, there was a bit of a back and forth exchange here inside a defined channel. And price action just, a couple of months ago is coming from the top, the very last level, highest level of resistance, 33.43. It tried to penetrate, but got that rejection, left a big spike slicing that area. And from that point forward, we saw that downside reversal. Price action was starting to turn around and make its way towards the lower section. It was supposed to make contact with 29.49, but it missed it by a tiny, tiny margin right here. And then went straight up. I believe this month is a technical correction to the previous month. Well, a technical correction to the move that's coming from the top of that tip of that spike. By the way, the level, the price over there at the highest high there was 34.85. So it was coming from 34.85 all the way down to 29.60. And this month, I believe it's a technical correction to that previous downside move. I feel like the break below 31.57 with a monthly breakdown confirmation, that's the key to this downside cycle. And price action right now pushing against that 31.57, kind of testing it from below. And we see price action starting to pull back. I feel like by the end of the month, it will be closing that monthly bar below 31.57 and continue to, resume the original downside move and eventually make contact with 29.49, potentially even penetrate into the lower section. So potentially go beyond 29.49, but we're going to be focusing on 29.49 as our primary target and final destination. So that's the view from the big picture monthly perspective. Weekly chart is also quite interesting because here we have a second trading range that started to develop around the middle of November. So yeah, about a month ago. So we have a trading range which is local, short-term trading range inside a bigger scale trading range that's coming from the monthly chart, right? And that's actually a good thing, because we have an alignment between these two setups. So just showed you from the monthly perspective, we expect price action to dip below 31.57. But from the short-term perspective, there is this 1, 2, 3 setup. There's this trading range, like I said, captured with the blue system, right? And you can see price action going up all the way to the last line of resistance, 31.96 here, and spiking it, not just once, but twice and 3 times today, yesterday. I mean, today was the 3rd time in a row, back to back, price action spiking that 31.95. So it looks like it's starting to turn around right off that area, which is not surprising at all. And we feel like there are 2 levels to work with as far as profit target goes. One that I already mentioned, that's going to be final destination 29.49, right? I've mentioned that one before. But there's one that's closer, represents the short-term cycle, and that would be 30.10. So we're starting with 30.10 as our first target. We only have 1 trade in. We're kind of testing the water. Like I said, kind of jumped the gun a little bit because price action didn't really break through, broke below 31.57, which is our official trigger, right? So once it does and starts to base itself below 31.57, we're going to get more aggressive, probably double up our position size, and then we'll start to incorporate the final destination 29.49, the primary target, right? So we're going to be working with both of these targets as long as price action is indeed turning around, and that remains to be seen. All right, stop loss level, by the way, 33 flat. That's all you need to know about this one. Yeah, let's move on. Market watch list. Today on the market watch list, we have 2 trading opportunities, 2 pending trading opportunities, if you will, that we're interested in, potentially gonna translate those into real positions. First one is the Euro Canadian, which we've talked about a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about a bullish move, which, yeah, we did nail that move all the way up to 49.68. That was great, but we also thought it was going to go higher to 51.47. We don't think that way anymore. At this point, we're actually changing our view, and we feel like it's going to start turning around back on the back foot again, right? So the reason we feel like it's going to continue on this downside trajectory was the close of the monthly bar. Take a look, 47.92, slightly below 48.08, and that suggests a real breakdown here. So, and price is trading sideways, right? I mean, back and forth ever since early May, and it's coming off the top, so I feel like it's gonna continue and rejoin, connect with the lower section here. 43.82 is the primary target and final destination, so there's a long way to go here. Now, the trigger is 48.86, so once price action starts to dip below 48.86, that's going to be our cue to jump in. All right, that's the trigger. Price action is literally sitting there right now, absorbing that support that's coming from 48.86, but I feel like it's going to be successful on the breakdown. It's coming. It's putting that pressure on that level right now as we speak, so it could be a day or two. Once it starts to slide below, we're going to jump into short position, and again, we're going to be targeting 43.82, right? And also 48.08 as a secondary target, a very short-term target. So that's the first one, Euro Canadian. Second one, Pound Japanese Yen, also very interesting situation. Here, we looked at the monthly chart, right? And it's been trading inside this range here, especially the top resistance level of 196.63 had been a powerful resistance. We've seen that in action as it was pushing against price action both last month and the month before. That suggests a downside reversal where the downside potential is really the previous lowest low from 4 or 5 months ago, August. The tip of that lowest low was 180.10. That's really the downside potential. We also have a powerful support key level coming in at 183.26. So that's really the potential of that downside cycle, if indeed we're going to get that. Now, for now, we're not there yet, because the level of 190.32 pushed price action into a technical correction. That's what I think that is, a technical correction, nothing more. So once price action starts to pull back down again, we're going to wait for the breakdown. Once it starts to cross below 190.32, that's going to be the trigger for us to jump into a short position. But that's not imminent. That's not happening in the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll have to keep an eye on this longer term, as opposed to the Euro Canadian, which I believe is going to get triggered in the next 24 to 48 hours, right? So that's the difference. Don't forget, Sunday, our upcoming Sunday, a new free webinar on supply and demand. Check out the description and subscribe. In the meantime, have a lovely trading day. We're going to be back tomorrow as usual. So till then, be well.